Hey guys, welcome back to EAK TV. I'm delighted to have Yoni Assia with us, the CEO of eToro. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, it's great to meet you. So, so we're in Paris Blockchain Summit right now. How are you enjoying the conference? I think you've just been on stage, I believe. So, how's it gone so far?
Super exciting. We had one of the most important and pivotal launches in eToro's history today.
Right.
So we launched today eToroX, our exchange, which is a regulated, secured crypto asset exchange. And together with that exchange, we also announced that we launched 8 stablecoins representing euro, dollar, pound, yen, Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar, Canadian dollar, and Swiss franc.
Nice.
And it's a part of our bigger vision on tokenizing traditional financial assets and bridging the gap between traditional financial assets such as fiat commodities, stocks, etc., and blockchain assets, which today represent just a drop in the ocean of total assets under management in the world.
Sure. Okay. Well, congratulations on the launch. Firstly,
thank you very much.
I'm sure you guys have been working on that for a long time, so it must be a relief, today. We've been looking forward to that. So, and I understand you just mentioned you've got 8 stablecoins there. And then you've also got these. Is it 7 cryptos that you have on there right now?
Yeah,
Bitcoin.
6 cryptos. Starting with 6 cryptos, but we'll start adding more.
Yeah.
Starting next week.
So that was going to be my question. When are you going to add more, and what cryptos are you looking at?
I estimate by the end of the quarter to have 100 trading pairs,
Right.
and by the end of the year to have 500 trading pairs.
Okay, cool. And you mentioned that you're a regulated exchange, so is it a custodial exchange then?
Yeah. It's a custodial exchange, highly secure, so we have a very sort of large and effective security team, and obviously regulated. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that's in Gibraltar, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. What else have you guys been working on? So you mentioned to me just before we were rolling that I could do, was it copy trading? So for our followers that don't know, not too much about that, can you tell us about that?
So eToro is the world's largest social trading network today. We have over 10 million users who can trade stocks, commodities, indices, currencies, and cryptocurrencies. And everybody in the social network automatically publishes their portfolio and their track record. So any user can see, follow, and automatically copy the top traders in the network. So if you see a German trader trading German stocks that did 30% returns over the past 3 years, you just copy him. Let's say with $1,000, if he generates 30%, you make 30% on your $1,000. We also have our copy portfolios, which are Q-rated thematic products. So for example, our crypto portfolio enables you to, with one click of a button, invest in a market cap weighted allocation in the top 15 cryptocurrencies that trade on eToro. So if you yourself are not a trader, you can just deposit funds very easily, fiat, into eToro with a credit card, click one button, invest in the top 15 assets, and then you'll have some skin in the game.
For sure, yeah. Is there a minimum amount that I have to invest?
The minimum amount is $200 of deposit.
Per week, per month, per year?
That's it. You just deposit $200. You have an account with us. You can trade stocks for as little as $50. Very simple.
Okay. Cool. Right. Okay. And I mean, I haven't actually used eToro. Sorry about that, but I will now after this. So you mentioned social trading. Obviously, it's really interesting. Everyone kind of wants to beat each other or like show how well they've done. So is it identifiable? So can I identify who that person is, or is it just like a username?
So you don't have to identify yourself unless you want to be a popular investor. So if people start copying you, you need to either reveal your real name so people can identify you, or you can't be copied anymore. So if you want to be copied, and people who get copied on eToro actually earn a 2% assets under management per year. So if you want to be copied by other people on eToro, you need to identify yourself publicly.
Oh, cool. Okay, yeah, I was about to ask what would be the incentive of doing that. So how many social traders do you have on your platform right now?
Well, we have 10 million registered users and hundreds of thousands active every month.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, and is that mainly from, where's the biggest markets you guys penetrating?
UK, Germany, Italy, Spain, France. So Europe is sort of our origin. Company itself is based in Israel, Europe, UK, majority of employees. And then we've started expanding into Asia in the past 3 years. So we have offices in Shanghai, Australia, Hong Kong, and quite a significant part of the business is now coming from Asia as well. And just recently, last month, we announced that we launched eToro in crypto-only mode in the US.
So cool. Okay, right. So it sounds like you're really expanding, across markets. I know, obviously, I've seen eToro around. You guys seem to sponsor a lot of events, and also like football teams. We discussed it was Tottenham and Arsenal. So yeah, I mean, how's that going for you? Like, I mean, I'm a big soccer fan. So like, are you seeing a good return on investment for sponsoring sports?
I think that in general we're seeing sort of good brand awareness impact of sponsoring sports. So you talked about it.
Yeah.
Most people from the UK that I talk to are now familiar with the eToro brand because they've seen us in football stadiums or taxis or subways.
Yeah.
So we do quite a bit of out of home. We're quite a big spender of online marketing, both globally and Europe, UK. Probably the largest spender in the crypto space. So we are creating a lot of brand awareness both to eToro as a brand and to crypto in general.
Okay. And you obviously mentioned brand awareness, and obviously, absolutely, because I've heard of it and I haven't used the platform. But how do you measure that then? I mean, obviously some things, as you mentioned, like, I mean, I haven't used the platform yet, but so you can't measure it that I've signed up. But how are you measuring that brand awareness? How do you know you're getting the ROI on the amount you're spending?
Sure. So most of our advertising is what's called ROI driven marketing, which means everything is tracked to the penny. So we know exactly where we spend, who registers through those links, who views those ads, what's the impact of each ad on each user. Offline, sports sponsorships, out of home, etc., which represent a minority of our ad spend. It's very hard to measure. What we do is we do quarterly brand awareness surveys and see sort of the impact on them on brand. And then what we do is we also measure how brand awareness impacts conversion and potentially lowers cost per acquisition. So for example, it's easier for me now to make you open an account on eToro, right?
Yeah.
Because you're familiar already with the brand.
And you're going to fund my account.
Exactly.
Cool. So I mean, obviously, it all looks rosy. You just launched the exchange. You guys seem to be everywhere. You're sat with us right now. So, what have been the biggest challenges that you've faced then in the last 12 months?
So I think a lot of regulators don't necessarily understand this space yet. We're working with a lot of various regulators. We're regulated in the US, Australia, UK, Europe, now Gibraltar, potentially South Africa very soon. So I think that is probably the biggest challenge of the crypto industry is regulations and the fact that there's somewhat of a resistance to change them towards crypto, although some regulators are sort of more leaning towards sort of change and acceptance of new technologies like in Gibraltar. So that's probably the biggest challenge other than the sort of obvious one, which is it's crypto winter. There's less people interested in crypto. We're shifting more of our focus into stocks to sort of have people come to trade actually stocks, shares on the platform, no stamp duty, etc. So a lot of things to sort of cover for what we saw last year, which is massive interest in crypto at the beginning of the year, gradually declining. So I think all of the hodlers here, are hoping for a crypto spring to sort of become a rally.
I hope so. Yeah. I mean, do you see that happening?
I'm not big on trying to predict the short-term future. I can only predict the long-term future, which I'm pretty good at. Long-term future, Bitcoin is here to stay. Fiat currencies are devaluing every year. The more that happens, Bitcoin will increase in its sort of importance, unless we have sort of a black swan event, which might happen to Bitcoin or to any cryptocurrency, but then would just shift a lot to another, to sort of the second comer, right? So maybe to Ethereum right now. Yeah. I think definitely there's a very good opportunity seeing at least 10x over the next 3 to 5 years on the top 2 to 5 cryptos.
Okay. So just stepping back a little bit away from the market itself, like looking at the news cycle, we saw yesterday Binance made a big decision of delisting Bitcoin SV. Firstly, is Bitcoin SV listed on eToro, and will they also follow Binance's lead? And what's your position on that whole situation?
So we never listed BSV, so we're sort of outside of this current discussion. Back then, when there was the BCH BSV split, we just followed the one which had sort of the winner, the more volume, and then what we did is we actually gave the BCH holders the dollar value of the BSV back then. So we actually sold BSV in the market, gave them the dollar value. So I think they've done well, our users back then. And so I think in generally this whole situation, this whole sort of fighting, Calvin Ayre, Hodlnut, Craig Wright, not so good suing people. Doesn't give the right perception and image for the entire crypto industry. And I think people outside the crypto industry that suddenly hear about what's happening, they're like, say what's going on there?
Yeah, for sure. So I mean, fair enough, you guys didn't list BSV in the first place, but what would have to happen for eToro to delist a project or a token?
We're on the eToro platform itself, we're actually quite strict on who we do list. Yeah. So we have 5 criterias around sort of, the team, the volumes across other exchanges, because we aggregate volumes from other exchanges into our trading platform, the fiat on-ramps into that specific crypto, whether we have price segregation, some regulatory issues around price segregation from regulated entities, as well as our ability to support it in both cold storage, warm, and hot wallets within our IT, right? So there's this entire process going into each of them. So usually it takes more time. We just have the top 15 cryptos today on eToro.
Yeah, I mean, so talking of like cold storage, obviously there's been news reports in the past, Quadriga, etc. We don't have to go into it, but like, how does eToro protect users' funds, and also how much are you guys insured by?
Sure. So we have a very good security team. Our chief security officer formerly was the CTO of the Israel cyber defense program. And we've been also doing it since 2012. So we hold crypto. We bought Bitcoin at $5 for eToro. So lucky us. So that really helped us sort of navigate throughout the waters when crypto sort of was going up. And we should have bought more though. So we're quite experienced in custody and cold storage of crypto assets, and we also use a couple of technology providers for more of the sort of both reconciliation, daily sort of auditing and extraction of all of the data across all of the blockchains, as well as some of the hot wallet management, the multi-sigs management for the hot and warm wallets.
Okay, cool. So other than obviously it's a big thing, you just launched your exchange, but apart from that, like what other things do you have going on inside eToro that we should be excited about?
I think the tokenization of assets and those new type of assets on the eToro platform are, for us, is super exciting. I think it's a first step, and very excited to see sort of eToro users start using eToroX, but this is definitely just the beginning. within the next 12 weeks, we're going to add a lot more features into eToroX.
Okay. And yeah, I guess I always ask of our guests on the show, what controversial or maybe opinion do you have on the space that maybe isn't shared around everyone, but is something that you believe in?
I think the XRP community is a very interesting community. That XRP, because I mean, not surprisingly, there's a lot of people who sort of don't like the XRP community or sort of how they react and act on Twitter. But I think it's interesting that it's the sort of community that's the most active, whether some real, some bots, but the most active, passionate. Constantly see them everywhere. We hear them on the eToro platform. So while they're not necessarily those same Bitcoin enthusiasts, Bitcoin maximalists, or the sort of smart, geeky developers in Ethereum, they are potentially a big, noisy group of people who are very passionate about what they do, and I respect that.
Is that a controversial comment that you respect XRP to the community?
Now I think it's controversial to say that it's controversial. So it's all like, you know, I also respect Bitcoin maximalists. I don't know. You know, it's like it's a bit cultish. Everything is a bit cultish. I'm very open-minded. You know, I think every crypto has its own sort of cult, and I think that what makes, amongst technology and others, why the crypto is interesting and rising in value. And we're very open for sort of a multi-blockchain future.
So which projects are you personally excited about? Like, just forget about eToro for a moment. Like, you know, other projects in the crypto space or in the blockchain space.
There are a lot of them, and some were somewhat involved. The thing that I'm most excited about is our own good dollar. So we're experimenting with the concept of universal basic income. The concept is very straightforward. It's a social impact, non-profit project we're running in eToro, right? So blockchain for good. And the idea there is, let's create a token and let's distribute it to 100 million people. Let's get 100 million people into the blockchain that are not already there. Let's get them a super easy user interface and give them free tokens every day. So every day you log in, you can collect $1 good dollar every day. And the concept is, let's print money, give people money, and explain to them the responsibility that they're responsible in creating value to that token. And I think that's a very exciting thing, because eventually Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP are all community-driven currencies. The price itself is driven by how much the community drives the price, hodls, willing to buy more, right? What if everything came from that purpose, but not that, you know, a 30,000, 50,000, 500,000 community, at 100 million people, at 1 billion people, right? And the biggest challenge with XRP, Bitcoin, Ethereum is you need to actually buy it. And that's the biggest sort of conversion problem. So why not give it away? And there's a lot of logic to it. How do you create identity that's decentralized? How do you create distribution that's decentralized? So it's a very academic project at eToro, which we're working on. Also related to another project, which is DAO Stack. Which is really about how do you create governance, voting, etc. Very excited about the opportunities that brings, unrelated so much to the business of eToro, although, you know, we're in good contact with the team, and the good dollar team is working with them. You know, I think Aragon are also doing a lot in the space. I love the concept of types of games on the blockchain. So I think Neo District, super cool graphics, super interesting. I'm also a crypto kitty collector. Yeah. Happy to swap kitties. We can breed them. So I think I'm fascinated by a lot of sort of implementations, and I think we're very, very, very early on. Yeah, I think this is the internet in 96, 97, maybe 2000, but still very early on. Yeah, everybody's trying to be too optimistic or too pessimistic.
Yeah. Cool. So where are you getting these 100 million people that are not in crypto? Are you getting that from developing countries, or is that?
Like I used to say at eToro, we're getting our users through the internet. That's the main country we operate in. So whoever wants free money, I have a feeling that if it works, a lot of people would want free money.
Sure. Yeah. Why not? I guess it's more about like making it easy, like you said, easy for people to take that free money, so that my mum or your mum could use it, right? So. Cool. Okay. So, do you have any like final words, like for our followers, or for your community that you want to say to them?
Sure. Join eToro and test eToroX. Awesome. Perfect. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thanks, Yossi, for coming in today. Guys, that's EAK TV. Don't forget to subscribe below, and we'll see you next time.